Um, this is just, I guess, if you will, sort of echoing the words of Turtle Clan member, indigenous people, Oren Lyons. Naturally, I love you, brother, with all my heart and soul. He's Shoshone Onondaga. That would be part of the original Iroquois Confederation, right? And he talked about the peacemaker and how the peacemaker had come together with different tribes that were warring against each other. So naturally, because I've known this since I was a little child, and the peacemaker told the leaders of the tribes that you're acting in ways which is really what we call service to self. It's all about us and not about our future. Okay, and so this is one of the reasons why when I measure things, you can measure things on what are you doing now about the seventh generation of your children's future. And that was a point that he was making at a presentation that he gave um, on behalf of the Smithsonian. And there's a YouTube video that's up, which is by Smithsonian of Oren Lyons about Mother Earth and a consciousness change. Okay? And he mentions something pretty important about how when he was a small child, his little brother said, "The world's coming to an end." Now, Chief Lyons is what? I don't know how old he is, but he's older than me, and he may have already passed away. I'm not sure. But the point is that it's pretty easy to figure that out. That if you're stripping away and essentially assaulting the planet for everything that she's given us for free, because it's all about immediate gratification, which is service to self. That means that the waves that you're experiencing, what you are going to be increasing such an enormous amount of acid waste that your alkalizers are never going to be able to keep you alkalized. Then you become a fatty acid storage container, and that causes a whole bunch of disease problems, which makes money for the medical system, which is a complete failure. So what does that mean about your children's future? You die off. The data's all in there because that's what I did. Aside from being an ecologist, a guardian of Mother Earth, okay, but also, how do I put it? Covering all the behavioral sciences. I had to look at what I call energetic relationships between everything that moves on the planet and how do they get along. How is it that Mother Earth achieves the harmony and the balance that she does? And all you have to do is spend some time in nature, and it doesn't take very long to figure it out. You can pretty much see when the hawk population is up, the snake population is down, and you can begin to see how there is a natural population control system in place with everything, the entire way that Mother Earth does everything that she does. That's why she's a teacher in the planet. And unfortunately, because of who was in control at the top of what I call I guess it's called the Pindar, okay, the top of the pyramid, right? Anu, okay, king of the Draco, right? A reptile. So a reptile, all you have to do is look at a reptile in the wild. When it comes out of the egg, its mother doesn't give it any love, so it never learns what that energy is. So it's not a high-speed transmitter, is it? No. So what happens if you combine a low-speed transmitter as a gene expression, okay, into human DNA, which becomes a hybrid? Their energy is going to be distorted. So if there is a soul in that comes into that particular vehicle in order to experience a classroom down here, you can realize the difficulty that they're going to have with somebody like us who's a full-blooded Indian, because I'm not a hybrid. And I run a high-speed transmitter. That means that I'm going to be around them and they're going to be draining my battery. Okay, which means I'm going to be experiencing who they are rather than who I am, which is why I always lived out in the woods, so I was separated from that energy. Because that kind of energy is not going to be giving love to its children in which they have a future. So what happened is we had an identity function problem here with everybody on the planet between who the rulers are and who the citizens are. They simply were not aware of the fact that the abuser, okay, is the system that was managing the control, the energy management system of the planet through which people were programmed to essentially mimic what they are in order to collapse your timeline and destroy yourselves. because you can't live in peace, harmony, and balance with the girl and the planet who's giving everybody everything that you need. Because, as he pointed out in his presentation, everything that we have, from our clothes, from the water, from the food, where do you think it all comes from? Okay? Resources. Those resources come from natural resources, nature. Okay? That's where we live, in nature, because we're the guardians of nature. So this is sort of why when I guess I was about 33 years of age when I decided I got to go after these polluters. So another way that you can measure that, and I did this just as one simple example, when they wanted to bring out the nuclear power industry, okay, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that that's probably not a very good idea, not when there's wireless electricity, okay? Well, naturally, they don't want that to go up because they put a meter on everything. That's how they keep your battery drained and keep you distracted all the time because you're not creating anything. You're working for them, okay, as a slave, an energy slave. Well, their leadership's been decapitated and this planet's been liberated, so that's over. So now the people are going to have to come to grips with why natural law has been restored to this planet, which means a removal process, okay? And that's when Patty Broussard had mentioned about going to other classrooms. All you have to do is take a look at all the ecological data, the pH of the oceans, how pure the water is that's coming down, that we get our water from, how pure is it, how structured is it, okay? Most of what everybody puts into their physical body that comes through a supermarket, what have you, is poisoned, okay? All you have to do is run a mass spectrometry on everything that's produced that you buy off the shelf, unless you're buying organic. And even with organic, because of chemtrails and everything else, the soil is just completely contaminated. So what do you think happens when you're growing stuff that's contaminated? Remember I talked about purity of the spirit, purity of the water, purity of the air, purity of the soil, okay? So everything was contaminated. When I was about 14 years of age, I thought to myself, is there any place left on this planet where I can drink the purest spring water, living spirit in the water, okay? I don't think there's very many places left. So this is where everything, again, comes full circle, which is full circle of light, which is what love is, because that's a high-speed Merkaba, because we love Mother Earth, okay? Because it's real simple. If you don't love something that is giving you something for free, how in the world could you possibly expect to go on from here? That's why it's a classroom. So for what it's worth, Chief